welcome back to Grace.Filled. I am so excited that you are here today to join me in seeking His face. This is the place where we are seeking the face of the Most High Yahweh, where we are trying to get into this word. We are trying to learn it. We're trying to understand it. We're trying to apply it. And most importantly, we just want to draw closer to the Most High. So I love this precious, special time where I can grow deeper, where I can learn, where I can understand more, where my roots can just expand a little bit. So when the storms of life come raging, and they will come, I'm rooted and grounded in my firm foundation, knowing that He will not fail me no matter what's going on, how I feel, or anything like that. So guess what? Get your stuff, whatever it is you need. I'm not even going to list anything out today. In fact, I don't even have anything for my own. So I'm just about to get into it because I am excited about this word. We have finished up Job, we have finished up Genesis, and now we are in Exodus, and ooh, it's just so good to me. So let's see what the end's gonna be. All right, so we are on day 34 of seeking His face, and today we're going to be doing Exodus chapters 13 through 15. And I know that we are definitely moving at a slower pace than most groups and most people, but yeah, I was thinking about it this weekend, and I'm like, that might work to some people's advantage. Don't despise slow starts. Don't despise slow beginnings, and slow and steady wins the race. At the end of the day, this is about the Most High. It's not about a checklist, but it's about our hearts, the posture of our hearts, and hiding His word in our heart, and really taking time to process it, dissect it, and not just do it because we need to do it, but because we really want to do it. So I just want to applaud you for being here. I want you to feel loved and supported and cherished and like you matter, because you guys can see me showing up at the end of the day with looking however I look. You guys saw me one time just sick, could barely talk. I don't get to see you in your pajamas. I don't get to see you at home. I don't get to see what you look like after your long day. But I just want to say I thank you for being here. All right, we're at Exodus 13. The Lord said to Moses, "Consecrate to me every firstborn male. The first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether human or animal." Then Moses said to the people, "Commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt and out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. Today, in the month of Aviv, you are leaving. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Havites, Jebusites, the land He swore to your ancestors to give to you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days, eat bread made without yeast, and on the 7th day, hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing with yeast in it is to be seen among you, nor shall any beast be seen anywhere within your borders. On the day, tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign on your hands and a reminder on your forehead that this law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with His mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed year after year, at the appointed time year after year. After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you as He promised, on oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give it over to the Lord. The first offspring of every womb, the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. In days to come, when your son asks, what does this mean? Say to him, with the mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. And when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb, and render each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign in your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord has brought us out of Egypt with His mighty hand." When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though it was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up of Egypt ready for battle. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He said, God surely will come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they encamped in Etham on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night, a pillar of fire to give them light, so they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in the front of his people. And there, sometimes you hear this song, or people will just say like he's the pillar, and when they're talking about this is what they are referencing. They're referencing when their backs were against the wall, when all hell was breaking loose, when they were under attack, when they thought they were about to lose their mind. I mean, can you think about like the position that they really were in? I'm sorry, baby, I keep hitting you on my plant. You know, you think about the position you're in. They are leaving the land that they're living in. They're under attack. The guy keeps changing his mind. You can go, you can't go. Is he hot or cold? The Bible talks about be hot or cold, because if you lukewarm, must be yeah. So he is totally flip-flopping left and right. You don't know what he's thinking, what he's going to do. He tells you he's not going to give you straw, tells you go find your own straw, but then work the same labor, right? Like, it's so much is going on. This is a stressful time. This is a hard time, okay? And now it's like, yeah, we're free, but what we going? What we going to do? Like, okay, now what's happening, right? Like, and I think, and normally I'd be like, like, just be quiet and we'll talk about it later, but we're going to talk about it now because I think it's important, because when God frees us, when the Most High makes ways for us, the thing is, we don't always know what to do, okay? We're no longer back here with the Egyptians, but what do we do? Where do we go? We're free, but we're free to do what? Free to go where? How do we live? How do we handle? How do we move forward now? And so this is why I love this so much, and I think why it means so much to me personally is because when I don't know what to do, and when I'm praying and fasting and seeking your face, this is what I'll know. The thing about it, when he went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night a pillar of fire, you have to understand a cloud kind of shades them from the heat. You got to think about the location they were at. So this is not just, oh, he was a pillar, you know, he was a cloud, you know, he was fire by night. No, a pillar of cloud is significant because when it's hot, as you know, what? That pillar kept them cool. And there were so many kids and elderly, like there were so many people. So, I mean, imagine pregnant people. There were so many of just all various situations and conditions. And that's what I'm saying, how thoughtful and mindful he is of all the people, that he what shaded them, that he what gave them comfort. Come on, can we just stop to just thank the one who gives us comfort in the midst of our discomfort, in the midst of our chaos and confusion and not knowing and not understanding, in the midst of our brokenness, and in the midst of our confusion, of our fear and excitement. He comforts us. He's with us. But not only was he that cloud, but what I want to point out is it says, and by night in a pillar of fire, the fire gave them light. In the nighttime, they were able to continue to move because he gave them light so they could see. And for some people, it's like, yeah, duh, you just turn on a switch, you know, you just hit the button, or you have these smart houses. You're like, hey, lights turn on, or snap or clap, or whatever you do. Clearly, I don't have a smart home. But sometimes we think so much in today's terms that we forget this is not today's term. This is not today's culture. This was so many years ago. This is pre-light bulb. This is pre-solar lights. This is maybe even pre-candle, right? I don't know. I'm a candle maker, but I don't know the exact time that candles came out. But the point is, this is significant because even if this was not pre-candles, did they have enough candles for all the people? Like, come on, it would be so insignificant. So I just want to let you know that, man, in this hardest trial, the hardest moment, in this hardest diagnosis, with this report, with this letter, with this news, I'm telling you, he will protect you and he will be your light and guide you through. And that is something so beautiful. And I just feel like somebody needs to know that no matter what you're going through, he sees, he knows, and that he's got you. And for me, that is something so beautiful. And man, it's definitely worth sharing, and it's worth maybe even losing a few people watching, because I've always told the Most High, almost like he asked me, would you show up for the one? And I say to him, I would show up for the one. And every time there's more than one, I'm like, Lord, there's more than one. Your name be praised. The story and song of salvation. God spoke to Moses. Tell the Israelites to turn around and make a camp at Pi-haroth, between Migdal and the sea. Camp on the shore of the sea opposite to Baal-Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are lost. They're confused. The wilderness has closed in on them. Then I'll make Pharaoh's heart stubborn again, and then he can chase after them. Like, you know, who thinks that there's this song, she said, I don't want to think that my broken heart was a part of your plan. And she said, sometimes I have to stop, remember that you're God and I'm not. Thy will be done, thy will be done. Down on my knees, all that comes to me is thy will be done. And I want to just sing that song because, or not sing it, but tell it to you, because it's like, really, when you think about that, I'll make his heart hard again, and then they'll chase out them. Like, we will be so cool. The enemy, like, we will have all these things, and this is a part of the Most High's plan. He has a plan for them, and they just don't understand it, and they just don't see it. And I always say, be mindful of how you perceive what's happening to you. Be mindful of how you speak in a moment of a picture, right? In a moment of the hour, right? There's so much more, and we are limited in our sight, in our hearing, in all things, right? Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. Our ways are not like his, our thoughts are not like his. We're just, who can know the mind of the Most High? And so when he's doing something in your life, as hard as sometimes the things may be, let him do it. Let him work it. Let him mold you. Let him perfect you. Let him scrape off those imperfections so the impurities can come. And I'll use Pharaoh and his army to put my glory on display. My Lord, my Lord. This was the plan. He had plan and purpose for everything. He raised up Pharaoh specifically to put his glory on display. What if he's raising up you, and what if he's raising up me to put his glory on display? That's why sometimes you just say, yes, Lord, I don't know, I don't understand, and real talk, I don't even like it, but yes to your will, yes to your way, for your glory. I'll do it. I'll say yes. I'll surrender. I'll go. I'll do it. I'll say what you want me to say. Do what you want me to do. But you got to be careful when you say stuff like that. I probably have about 4 videos that are similar, that would be a similar theme. Because when you say yes, it costs you something. And when you say yes, things do come your way. Trials come. Things come to test. Oh, really? That's what you say? Oh, let's see if you're going to hold on to that. You get tested by the words that you speak out of your mouth. But I am telling you right now, the Most High is good. and he doesn't make a mistake. It's so his glory can be on display. And when you think that you're about to be crushed, and when you think that you are at your like wit's end, I just want you to think, is the glory of the Most High about to be on display? And if I knew his glory was about to be on display, would I feel the same way? Would I endure the same way? Would I go through the same way? All right, that's it. I'm not going to say anything else. Then the Egyptians will realize that I am God. And that's what happened. When the king of Egypt was told the people was gone, him and his servants changed their mind. They said, what have we done letting Israel, our slave labor, go for free? Or go free. So he had his chariots harnessed up and got his army together. He took 600 of his best chariots with the rest of the Egyptian chariots and their drivers coming along. And God made Pharaoh, king of Egypt, stubborn, determined to chase the Israelites as they walked out on him without even looking back. The Egyptians gave chase and caught up with them when they had made a camp by the sea. All of Pharaoh's horse-drawn chariots and their riders, all of his foot soldiers there, opposite Baal-Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up and saw them Egyptians coming at them. They were totally afraid. They cried out in terror, and Moses said, they told Moses, weren't the cemeteries large enough in Egypt? So you had to take us out into the wilderness to die? What have you done for us, taking us out of Egypt? Back in Egypt, didn't we tell you this would happen? Didn't we tell you leave us alone here in Egypt? We're better off in slaves than as corpses in the wilderness. Moses spoke to the people and said, do not be afraid. Stand firm and watch God do the work of salvation for you today. Take a look at the Egyptians today, for you are never going to see them again. God will fight the battle for you, and you keep your mouth shut. Whew, I said I wasn't going to say nothing else. This is going to be a chatty one today. Listen, he will fight your battles if you keep your mouth shut. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to make a video, or how many times I just wanted to say something to somebody, and he was like, Christy, and I just said, yes, sir. I just closed my mouth. And when I closed my mouth, I promise you, he took care of it so much better than I could have ever did it. But the thing that gets me is look at how they switched. They flip-floppy too. Look how their hearts changed. They literally saw all the miracle signs and wonders that happened. They were there. Which is why I believe the scripture about blessed are they that believe they haven't seen. Because we didn't see that, and we believe. But look at their unbelief. Look at what they were saying to him. May, in the midst of our battles, we remember who fights for us. We remember who fights with us, who's beside us, who's around us, and keep our mouths closed. Because what were they speaking out their mouths? Why did they start talking about a grief? God said to Moses, why cry out to me? Speak to the Israelites. Order them to get moving. Hold your staff high and stretch your hand over the sea. Split the sea. The Israelites will walk through the sea on dry land. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the Egyptians keep up their stubborn chase. I'll use Pharaoh and his entire army, his chariots, and his horsemen to put my glory on display so that the Egyptians will realize that I am God. And the angel of God that had been leading the camp of Israel now shifted and got behind them. And the pillar of cloud that had been in front also shifted to the rear. The cloud was now between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. The cloud destroyed one camp in darkness and flooded the other with light. The two camps did not come near each other all night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and God, with a terrific east wind all night long, made the sea go back. He made the sea ground dry. The seawater split. The Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground with the waters a wall to the right and to the left. The Egyptians came after them in full pursuit, and every horse and chariot and driver of Pharaoh racing into the middle of the sea. It was now the morning watch. And God looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud on the Egyptian army and threw them into a panic. He clogged the wheels of their chariots, and they were stuck in the mud. The Egyptians said, "Run from Israel. God is fighting on their side and against Egypt." God said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the seas and waters. They'll come back over the Egyptian, over the chariot, and over their horsemen." And so Moses stretched his hand out over the sea, and as the day broke and the Egyptians were running, the sea returned to its place as before. God dumped the Egyptians in the middle of the sea. The water returned, drowned the chariots and the riders of Pharaoh's army that had now chased after Israel into the sea. Not one of them survived. But the Israelites walked right through the middle of the sea on dry ground. The waters formed a wall to the right and to the left. God delivered Israel that day from the oppression of the Egyptians. And Israel looked at the Egyptians dead, washed up on the shore of the sea, and realized the tremendous power that God brought against the Egyptians. The people were in awe before God and trusted in God and his servant Moses. Wow. It says God delivered Israel that day from the oppression of the Egyptians. I wonder if I have any people that are watching that can say, "And God is delivering," put your name in it, Christy, this day from the oppression of, and you fill in whatever blank it is. I wonder if anybody just has enough faith to even believe that it's possible that the Most High can deliver you from what you're going through too. I know that what you're going through might seem like a lot, but what they were going through seemed like a lot too. And we see the results. I wonder what would happen if we just trusted and moved out in faith versus do nothing, right? If we do nothing, we certainly will have nothing change. But if we just speak and move out in faith, I just wonder how things would shift and how things would change. And even if nothing shifted or changed in that moment, I wonder if just our minds would shift, if just our perspectives would shift, if just our hearts and our spirits. Sometimes he doesn't have to move the mountain. Sometimes he just has to quiet us, right? Sometimes he doesn't have to move the mountain, but just give us the strength to climb it. Just give us the grace to endure. Wow. It's so encouraging. But hold on. We're not done yet, because we're about to just walk right into Exodus 15. All right. Exodus 15. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to God, giving voice together. "I'm singing my heart out to God with a victory." What a victory. He pitched horse and rider into the sea. God is my strength. God is my song. And yes, God is my salvation. This is the kind of God I have. And I'm telling the world, this is the God of my father. I'm spreading the news far and wide. God is a fighter. Pure God through and through. Pharaoh's chariots and armies he dumped into the sea. The lead of his officers he drowned in the Red Sea. Wild ocean waters poured over them. They sank like a rock in the deep blue sea. Your strong right hand, God, shimmers with power. Your strong right hand shatters the enemy. In your mighty majesty, you smash your upstart enemies. You let loose your hot anger and burn them to a crisp. At the blast from your nostrils, the waters piled up, tumbling streams dammed up, wild oceans curdle into a swamp. The enemy smoke. I'll pursue, I'll hunt them down, I'll divide up the plunder, I'll glut myself on them, I'll pull my sword out, my fist will send them reeling. You blew with all your might, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead weight into the majestic waters. Who compares to you among little gods, oh big God? Who compares with you in power and holy majesty and awesome praises? Wonder-working God, you stretched out your right hand and the earth swallowed them up. But the people you rendered, you led in merciful love. You guided them under your protection to your holy pasture. When people heard, they were scared. Philistines rift and trembled. Yes, even the head men in Edom were shaken, and the big bosses in Moab. Everyone in Canaan panicked and felt faint. Dread and terror sent them reeling before your brandished right arm. They were stuck dumb like a stone until your people crossed over and entered, oh God, until the people you made crossed over and entered. You brought them and planted them onto the mountain of your heritage, the place where you live, the place where you made your sanctuary, Master, that you established with your own hands. Let God rule forever and eternity. Yes, Pharaoh's horses and chariots and riders went into the sea, and God turned the waters back on them. But the Israelites walked on dry land right through the middle of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine, and all the women followed her with tambourines dancing. Miriam led them in singing. Sing to God, what a victory. He pitched horses and riders into the sea. And so it's so interesting when people talk about that women cannot lead, women should not sing, women should not be silent. And we're not going to argue, we're not going to debate it. But look right here, Miriam the prophetess. What does that mean? Took a tambourine and all the women followed her dancing. And people say, oh, you can't do all that. Oh, I love it. She led them. The woman led them in worship. Are you leading anybody in worship? And does worship change your situation? And if you're not leading anyone in worship, why don't you try and see if things change? But whether they change or not, we were created to worship. So isn't that the least that we can give and least that we can do? So Moses led Israel from the Red Sea to the wilderness of Shur. They traveled for 3 days through the wilderness without finding any water. They got to Marah, but they could not drink at the water Marah. It was bitter. That's why they call the place Marah bitter. And the people complained to Moses. So what are we supposed to drink? Just all the miracles, back to complaining. So Moses cried out and prayed to God. And God pointed him to a stick of wood. Moses threw it into the water, and the water turned sweet. He can turn bitter into sweet, my Lord. Anybody need him to turn your life from bitter to sweet? I'm thankful he's turning some things in my life. That's the place where God set up rules and procedures, and that's where he started testing them. God said, if you listen obediently to how God tells you to live in his presence, obeying his commandments and keeping his laws, then I won't strike you with all the diseases that I inflicted on the Egyptians. I am God, your healer. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. They set up camp there by the water. Father, help us to trust in you, and that although we're going through troubled waters, although we face persecution, although we're being followed and maybe under attack, although so much is going on, so much in so many directions of our life, Father, my prayer is that you bring us to a place of rest. There was a place for shade. There was water. Father, I pray that you would just blow your spirit onto my brothers, onto my sisters, my nieces, my nephews. I just pray for strength. I pray right now for faith. I pray right now for faith to increase, for people to trust you, that you're going to make ways, that you're going to deliver, that you're going to set free, that you can do what no other can do, that when all hope looks like it's gone, with you all things are possible. I am praying for orphans and widows and poor. I'm praying for those that have addictions. I am praying for those who want to be free. I am praying that every chain, every bondage, everything that's holding my brothers and sisters bound would be broken in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach right now, by your blood, by your power, and by your spirit. Father, I thank you for changing lives, healing, delivering, and setting free these people. Oh God, you know what's going on. You know what they have need of. You know them, the number of hairs on their head. You knew them before they were in their mother's wombs. You know the thoughts and the plans that you have for them. You know how you feel about them and concerned. They are the apple of your eye, fearfully and wonderfully made. In fact, you love them so much, not even a tear falls that you don't even know about. And I was crying the other day, and I had the revelation. As I shed this tear, if you're collecting in a bottle, that means you're near to me. You are near. So I pray, Father, that those that feel like you are far away, and those that feel like they are alone, those that feel lonely, those that are broken and contrite, those that are struggling within themselves, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, I pray that you are near to them. I pray that, Father, your angels are ministering to them even now. I'm praying, Father, that thy will be done in our lives on earth as it is in heaven. Father, you have the final say. We believe your report. We trust your word. We do what you tell us. We go against the grain if that's what you're calling us to do. Whatever your word is, whatever you have for us, Father, I pray that you make it very clear to us. I pray that you will order our steps. Your word is a light and a lamp. You were the pillar of cloud. You were the pillar of light. Father, some of us need some light in our darkness. And Father, some of us just need to be hidden by your cloud in the day. Some of us need to be hidden, Father, from the cares of this world. In other words, can you just wrap us in your arms and comfort us? Can you kiss us and tell us everything's going to be okay? And some people are just in some dark spaces. They don't know where they are, how they got there, how they gonna get out. They are just lost. And I am praying that your pillar of light guides them to safety, guides them back to the light. Because without the light, it's hard. Everything is hard without the light. We're bumping into stuff, falling into stuff. We can't see. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. What we have, we don't have. We don't know what's near us. So, Father, I just pray that you would just continue to be who you've always been. You've been so faithful through the ages. Thank you for being our strong foundation. Thank you for never failing us. And thank you for just this day. People are like, how come you're just so happy? I woke up today. That's a reason to say thank you. Somebody didn't wake up, and it's not to be insensitive to the families who have, and we're praying for families who've experienced loss and grief and bereavement, and for those who are mourning. We mourn with those that mourn. We rejoice with those that rejoice. But the fact that we have blood in our veins, the fact that we opened up our eyes, it's a reason to say thank you. So we thank you for just being so good. We thank you for the breath in our lungs. We say hallelujah, the highest praise. I pray, Father, that everyone that watches this would get just what they need. You know who needs to watch it, Father. For your glory, I pray that they can. I pray that it touches them. I pray that it encourages them. I pray that it sharpens them to get to the next point they need to get to. And Father, I thank you for what you're doing. I give you glory, I give you honor, I give you praise. And it's in Yeshua's name that I pray. Amen. Never out of words, ever. But I am out of time, and it's getting late. The lights are coming on. I'm gonna go eat. I haven't eaten too much today. But more than that food, I wanted this spiritual food. Because when I'm going through a hard time, and when I feel like I got Pharaoh's army behind me and a sea in front of me, I need to know what the word says. I need to know who surrounds me. I need to know what's happening. And I need my spirit man to be okay. So I'm hungry, but I got to eat something different. And I think after tasting it, I can say it's sweet. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully it was sweet for you too. I pray that the Lord will bless you. I will be here tomorrow. Tomorrow we will do day 35. And that's going to be Exodus 16 through 18. And just in case you didn't know, if this is your first time and you thought this was good, even if you thought it was alright, there are 33 other videos just like this of just the word. And if you say, you know what, I read the word on my own, but I really just want to hear the prayers, there are 1.5 years of daily prayers and prayer requests. You can go back to that You'd be like, who is this lady? I want to know more about her. The past 10 years of my life are here in these videos. Real, authentic, and raw. So I share my life with you. I share my faith with you. And I know everybody agrees with me on my life or my faith. But something I always say is chew the fish, spit out the bone. What's for you? What's good for you? What helps you? What you do agree with? Take it. Let it nourish you. Let it help you. Let it heal you. And that you're like, I don't know, or not right now. That's okay too. Maybe later. Maybe not at all. And that's okay. But I love you. And most importantly, he loves you best. So until the next video, peace and